On. Hello, everybody. I am coming on today. This is Wendy Liu from Parenting Through Ascension. I am coming on today. I wanted to do just a little quick blurb because there was something that I was thinking about. I was thinking about a teacher that I had in high school. His name was Mr. Marshall. I don't remember his first name. I don't know that kids ever really know their teachers' first names, but he was Mr. Marshall. Honestly, I can't even quite remember what he taught. Subject-wise, I really liked him. I think I only had one class with him in my 4 years of high school. And it was, I believe it was a social studies or language arts class. It was one of those. Um, and anyway, he was one of those teachers that kind of flew under the radar. He was not a real boisterous man. He was rather quiet. When if you saw him outside the classroom, he wasn't a real. Um, he just kind of kept to himself, and unless it was just I wasn't in the right crowd, I don't know. But what I remember about him is that he did this thing every year. I don't remember what the date was, and if anybody is watching from Lincoln High, Thief River Falls, back in the 80s, if anybody remembers this, what the date actually was. But once a year, this teacher he dubbed Legiquicid. That's what he called it, Legiquicid, and it stands for Let's Give Credit Where Credit is Due. So LG, I had to write it, LGCWCID, Legiquicid, right? And once a year, it was Legiquicid, and let's give credit where credit is due, and he would go down on the street corner right outside the high school, and he would stand at the four-way stop. And when cars would come to a complete stop, like you know what I mean, the recoil and everything, he would, no kidding, stand there and congratulate them. Now I don't know that they all rolled their windows down to hear it, but he would say, "Congratulations, you came to a full stop," or "Congratulations, you made it to the stop sign," or he just was it was kind of silly, and he was exaggerating these things that we all take for granted that we all should be doing, right? The recoil, people, everybody should be coming to a full stop at the stop sign. And but at the same time, he was really emphasizing and expressing how it's so important to let people know when they do something good. There's nothing wrong with validation, with positive reinforcement. In fact, even through this ascension process, it's helped me through it. It's all about supporting each other. And so he would stand out on the street corner and do that once a year. And a lot of the students thought he was kind of a nerd, and a lot of students thought it was ridiculous. Like he was so stupid. And I, of course, being a sheeple back then and just wanting to fit in, which I never did anyway. But I, on the outside would just kind of, nod and, turn around and walk away. But on the inside, I was thinking, I love this guy. Like, how brave to just truly to do something that kind of makes fun of yourself, and not care what other people think of you. And like I said, it wasn't like he was this real, I don't recall anyway, him being this real outgoing, outspoken man. He really wasn't. He was kind of quiet. I do remember his son, Aaron. Hi, Aaron. Aaron Marshall. He was a year younger than me um, in school. But, he wasn't the kind of guy that, you'd pass in the hallway and he'd, rap you on the back or whatever, or, give you a jovial punch on the shoulder. He just wasn't. But he did this every year, and I have never forgotten it. And we're talking, I'm coming up on my 30th. This year is the 30th anniversary of would be my 30th high school reunion. And so it's been 30 years, 32 probably. I believe I was a sophomore or a junior when I was in his class. But it's something that I've never forgotten, and I can recall it like Legiquicid. I'll never forget it. Let's give credit where credit is due. And so I'm not saying that we should all be standing on the street corner congratulating everybody for coming to a complete stop, but let's be more aware of just patting people on the back when they do something that we know maybe is difficult to do. I sometimes have days where I'm driving to the store and I suddenly think, holy shit, like how am I doing this? Like I know I learned how to drive and but we become so complacent and we take it for granted. All these incredible things that we do. Can you imagine if somebody from 200 years ago saw us all just driving these cars at breakneck speeds down, dangerous, reckless speeds down the road? And just not even thinking it, and thinking that we, have the wherewithal to be texting and all this other stuff at the same time. I mean, they would be freaking out. And so it just, you have to remember sometimes um, how amazing we truly are and the things that we do that, our ancestors 200 years ago could not even have fathomed doing. And we're trying to multitask with these things, right? Which, of course, is not safe. Don't text and drive. And honestly, I see people, I'm sorry, I have to say it. I saw a video yesterday, and this person has done a few where I'm not even going to say he or she, where this person is driving whilst doing a live video. And the one I watched yesterday, this person even like missed an exit because they were driving. That's not safe. Please don't do live videos while you're driving. I just think that's careless. That's silly to do that. I don't want to watch you get in an accident live on YouTube. But anyway, so Legiquicid, write it down. Let's give credit where credit is due. When you see somebody doing something that from personal experience is a difficult thing to do, let them know that what they just did was that that it was a difficult thing and that they're amazing. Because I think sometimes, that is something that you don't know, that might be the one thing they needed to get them through the day, or to get them over this hump or whatever, to improve their self-esteem just enough for that day to maybe flow right into the next day and even make the next day better. Just by saying, hey, that was, I just saw what you did and that was amazing. Like, something comes to mind, like a young mother, like maybe she's got four kids, like couple in a stroller, couple walking, and she gets them across the street safely. I'd be like, wow, that was great. Good job. You're an incredible mom. Just keep going. And, just little things like that we take for granted. Now, I'm not going to congratulate people for driving a car, but I think we should all just be more aware of all these things that we've done. We have come through so much, so many really challenging times that we know how badass we are, right? But the people who are just beginning this journey, especially, like something as simple as learning to meditate. I couldn't meditate. I couldn't meditate to save my life because I had this preconceived belief that in order to meditate, you had to clear your mind. And there ain't no way my mind is ever going to be clear. And so I was like, nope, that's not even, I'll never be able to do that because I can't clear my mind. Until you realize that it's not about clearing your mind, it's just about being. It's just about letting the thoughts come and just letting them float through and not stressing about, okay, or not even really concentrating. Meditating is not about concentrating on something. It's just about being. Let these things come because we are shut down and focused and concentrating the rest of the day. Meditating is when you need to just let things leave your field. Okay, but anyway, that's how I learned finally how to meditate, and it's been wonderful for me just to know that you can't do it wrong. You can't meditate wrong. And so when somebody's just beginning this journey and they're desperate and they're asking for help, and each little step, just be aware and try to remember to, especially if you're one of their guides, if you're one of their practitioners on this journey, if you're part of their team, their corporeal team on the planet, make sure you're letting them know that what they're doing is amazing and they're doing it. And baby steps is okay, not only okay, but almost absolutely necessary. But just let them know that they are strong, they're warriors, they're fabulous, and they're doing it. They're heading in the right direction. So thinking of Mr. Marshall and Legiquicid, if you share that, by the way, not that it's that they're not all gold, but I just have always loved that acronym. But if you share it at all, just make sure you give Mr. Marshall, Lincoln High, Thief River Falls, Minnesota, the credit because this was all his creation. I've never heard anybody else come up with this idea or acronym, and I'll never forget him standing out at the four-way stop right outside our high school, congratulating people for coming to a complete stop, making it to the stop sign, making it through the day. He would think of something different for everyone. It wasn't always great job on the recoil. It would be different things like, hey, great job. If he'd see a baby in the car, great job, putting them in a safe car seat or something like that. He would come up with something unique for each person coming to the stop sign. But he'd do it during his lunch hour, and most of us would stand at the windows. It would be during warm months, so he could be out there without a coat on. Because I remember the windows in the school being open, and we'd stand at the windows on the second floor looking down at him, and most of the kids would just laugh. They thought he was ridiculous. But I just wanted, if this gets to him in any way, I know he's still with us, and he's retired, but he's still with us. And if this gets to him, I just wanted him to know that I've never forgotten it, and that it has helped. It has helped me on my journey, and it has just helped me in life in general, day to day, to remember that everybody's struggling in some way, and that you never know when maybe they'll need just one little tiny word of encouragement to get them to the next moment and the next moment and the next moment. So, just be more aware of that. We know what we've been through, what we're still going through, and we hope our whole purpose as a first waiver, speaking as a first waiver, we hope that the journey is easier for everybody else coming now, and of course for the second wave have had it difficult too, only because they're the ones that have been awake most of their lives, if not all. First waivers, for the most part, we were asleep for a good chunk of our lives, and then we're awakened, which is part of the reason why our journey maybe was challenging. I don't want to say more difficult or even tougher because it's all relative, right? But possibly why we chose to be the forerunner, the first waivers, was because we knew we could handle it. And so, but it's all the paths that we chose. We knew what we were getting into. So the second waivers, I hope, I know that the second waivers have had a lot of addiction. First waivers too, a lot of addiction. There's been a lot of substance because we try to escape, right? We don't want to be here. We don't want to be here, and we try to find a way to numb everything, and that is how most of us got this far. Okay, so was the addictions, the numbing. For me, it was food. I was at my heaviest. I was 260 pounds, and I was hiding under the weight. And it, although I hated my body and longed to be thinner or healthier, I longed to be thinner. Let's be honest. When you're that weight, you just don't give a shit. I don't care if I'm healthy. I just want to be skinny, right? And that's kind of a female thing anyway, lifelong, that we are healing as this divine feminine comes to the forefront. We will heal that, I promise, and hopefully you can already feel that releasing from the whole planet. Is this need to be Twiggy, and that kind of dates me, but she was a supermodel back in the 60s, and she was called Twiggy for a reason. She was skinny as a twig. That is not healthy. None of us should look like that. Well, I shouldn't say that. We all look different. Healthy looks different on all of us. Okay, whether it's a Twiggy or otherwise. But anyway, lost my train of thought again. Anyway, yeah, so I hid under the weight, and even though I wanted to be thin, it was safe. It was safe being 260 pounds, because I could be invisible. I could be. It's funny because you feel more conspicuous because you take up more space, and you can't. I remember taking the kids to a carnival, and my one was little, and he needed a parent on the ride, and I couldn't fit in it. They couldn't get it closed over my stomach. And the poor kid, the poor teenager, I think he was a teenager, early 20s maybe, who had to come. He felt awful having to come over and tell me, I'm sorry, you can't be on this ride because we can't get it closed with you in it. Whew! Like that, pretty sure that was, pretty sure I cried about that later. I don't recall. I'm sure I pushed it down like a good Catholic girl. I pushed it all down and added it to the pile. But that's, these are the things that we've been through it. So my addiction was food, and being invisible. That's what I was going to say. We feel so conspicuous, yet we're also invisible because we won't ever get. It's almost like negative attention feels safer than positive attention. That might be something to explore, huh? Almost. I don't know if that's true. That's just word vomit. But anyway, so Sid. Don't ever forget it. Let's give credit where credit is due. Encourage these people coming along every step of the way. They need it. Okay. I love you guys. We got this. We got this. We're doing it. This equinox and moon are going to be amazing. Everything in my being is telling me, it's going to be a lot of things that we've been waiting to happen. We've been knocked back. We've been the arrow, the tension, as it's knocked back right before it is released to fly. And I really want to believe, I'm having trouble. I really want to believe that this equinox and moon is going to be the release, okay? Because the tension, boy, whew, I am not prone to headaches. I'm not a headache person. And today was a doozy. I woke up with one, and periodically, but I still am not. I'm not prone to them. And I know when I have a bad headache that does not go away, something big is about to give. Okay? Not that something's coming, that there's something worse coming, but something's about to, like I'm about to break through. Okay? So just hold on to that. I really believe that this is the big release. And we're all just going to, we might actually hear the collective planetary sigh of relief when it gives. So hold on to that. Encourage people that you are guiding through this process now that you've gone through so much of it yourself. I am here to tell you you're fucking amazing. You're warrior gods and goddesses, and I love every single one of you. And we're doing this. We're doing this. I'd love to say we're saving the, but we are. We're saving the planet. We are showing the planet how to save itself, one person at a time. So I love you guys. Wendy Lou, Parenting Through Ascension. Please, if this resonates at all, check out my other videos on my channel. If you're watching this on Higher Self and you have questions or comments, I encourage you to go to the original video because chances are I will not see them if they're through Higher Self. I just don't have time to go back and find all my videos that play on there and find the comments. So please go to the original video and comment there. I love to, I try to respond to everybody. I love questions. I love comments. I love personal experiences. So share with me all of those whenever you can. So I love you.